Hello, everyone. My name is JD Calderon, and this is Indie Comics Explained. Yet again, I brought another fantastic group of independent comic book creators. So please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. Without further ado, I'm going to bring in the pinch hitter. If I'd ever hit the button, there you go. What's up, Tom?
Somebody told me I was in that spot today. Yeah, where's your boy?
Oh no, he's on vacation, dude.
Oh, he's on like a legit vacation?
Oh, yeah. Okay. He told me he was not gonna be around for at least 3 weeks.
Oh, geez. All right.
Yeah.
All
last week he was at a show.
Yeah.
This week I believe he's on vacation.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm like good for you.
All right. Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
But the rest of us have to work. It's fine.
That's it. That's what it is. I mean, at least you got a lake. I'm in New York, so we have heat.
Yeah.
It was hot. It was hot. Yeah. Anyway, so what's up, Mr. Coco? Yeah, I like the way that lines up right behind you, Marcus, because it's like you got double horns.
Yes. But I am Marcus McNeal, editor-in-chief of Odyssey Comics, here to join as your resident co-host for the evening. So excited to get into it.
All right, cool. Randy?
Oh, hello there. Hey, everybody. Randy Zimmerman. Been doing independent comics for decades. So Arrow Comics, Caliber, Antarctic. It's mostly Arrow Comics, though. Right now I'm working on the Atlantean, which I'm writing, the sword and sorcery adventures of Cull and Brule as they travel the land. I'm in the middle, well, not in the middle. I'm just finishing up writing the 5th issue of this. The first 4 are available anywhere where you can get paperback books. And we do our campaigning through fundmycomic.com, and which we plan on funding for number 5 there towards the within the next couple of months. As soon as the issue's done, we'll do the campaign for it. Looking forward to it.
All right.
Be a lot of fun.
Good stuff, too. I enjoy it.
Thank you.
So,
hey guys, how's it going?
It's going good. Please introduce yourself.
I am James Burton. I'm one of the creators in Scatter Comics, and I am the creator of Damage Incorporated as well as the Battle of Nut.
Cool. Dan, what's up, brother?
How you doing? Dan Sehn, publisher of Argo Comics and our Thunder Zone imprint. Have the GWP Kickstarter active right now. Have Earthfall in pre-launch. Clickbait in pre-launch. If you go to my Facebook and Kickstarter profiles, you'll be able to check out all those projects.
All right, cool. All right, so we're going to pick up from last week, right? Last week, what was the impossible task? This week is, what are your possible tasks? What have you set up for yourself over the next 6 months, right? So, last man in, first man up, I think that was Dan. So you're up, Dan. What are the things you have set up for yourself in indie publishing that you're going to be doing over the course of the next 6 months? What are you looking forward to?
Well, I think as Rosario said a couple episodes ago when I was watching, was the fact that I got to just get on a more regular schedule of promoting on social media and not feeling like I'm, full of myself for doing so. Whereas, we see all the posts because we're writing them, and sometimes you feel like people might be getting sick of you. But in actuality, we know due to the algorithm and everything, people probably aren't seeing most of these. So I got to just get on a more regular schedule with that. And also, I'm usually a little negligent with the mailing list type things. And quite recently, I was invited into this, it's called the ICCA, Indie Comics Creators Association. So it has kind of like a Comics Code seal. It's, I think, about 6 publishers right now with more to come. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be kind of like a shared mailing list that will be doing giveaways and contests and everything like that to promote it. And it'll kind of be a seal that, we're not saying those are the only good indie comics out there, but it's going to be a seal assuring you of certain level of quality, certain level of dependability and fulfillment, and creators with proven track records. So we'll be applying that label to our books, the ICCA label, and I categorize that as possible because it's in the process of being done right now.
All right, cool. James, what are you up to?
What am I up to? It's been a crazy year, dude. Almost a year ago, I would have said just walking across the room in that possible category. Right now, I am trying to do all the things that make me healthy and survive what's going on, manage my stress, manage my job, being a dad. So when I get down into what's possible for me for the book over the next couple of months, it's difficult to narrow it down just to one thing. But I'd have to say, Kira gave me an interesting challenge the other day. She was suggesting that I try to just draw out issue 4, 5, and 6 all at once and have the entire thing done, because she wants to get the whole thing storyboarded. She has some ideas that she wants to put into the finale, and we're organizing that now. So I'd say it may be possible for me to finish the last of it in one gigantic piece, and then just concentrate on all the crazy promotional stuff that is the hard work of being an indie comic creator, right? So that I'm trying to figure out how to manage to do all those, and then just concentrate over and over and prepare for the next Kickstarter.
All right, cool. Randy, what are your thoughts?
Possible goals for the rest of the year. I really want to get that Anniversary Omnibus out. That's kind of been a goal for a while. I wanted to get it out in the first quarter of this year, and I don't know, I've just been holding off because of the economy and the way everything's been looking. Just been really nervous about getting it out there in front of people. But other than that, finishing up the Atlantean number 5 is going to be a real thick book, and 6 ought to be, a real good topper. Plus, we're going to do an omnibus this year. Looking forward to that as well. And there's, still some monkey business sitting there waiting to be worked on. So,
Yeah,
as far as goals for the end of the year, that's about it.
all right. Mr. Jameson, showing up late. In your car again.
Fashionably late. Yeah, I just dropped my kids off at a day camp, and here I am. Apologies on being late. I'll keep the Canadian thing going there.
All right. How far? Isn't it like 4 in the afternoon where you're at least?
6:30, 20 to 7.
Oh. You dropping
Evening
off
camp.
Oh, evening camp. Okay. That's okay.
Yeah, it's like 2 hours.
Oh, okay. All right. I was like, yeah. What do you guys do in evening camp? Shoot moose?
My kids are at Bible camp right now. For me, shooting moose, I got buffalo on my shirt. Does that count for anything? I don't have any moose around here, though.
I got Cthulhu on mine. So.
Cthulhu? Oh, the moose, they're like the Cthulhu of Canada. So instead of tentacles, they got all those antlers, eh? That's how it works.
Gotcha. All right. Cool. But I don't know if you saw the show question. You heard the question. So last week, what the question was, what is the impossible task? This week is, what is the possible task? So what are you looking to get accomplished within the next 6 months?
Well, I have even shorter term goals than that. I've got a couple stories I'm writing. Some I'm not allowed to say. Tom's already announced I'm writing a short story for himself. I'm also writing something for Jay Rosario. And that's within just this month alone. I have a couple of goals into putting together an omnibus for the Madcaps. I don't even know if omnibus is a good way to put it. Just trade paperback. It would be a better way to put it, I think. It's only 3 issues. After that, there are 2 other projects, but unfortunately, I can't reveal any more than that. But there is some stuff in the works.
All right, cool. So tell us about these 2 other projects. What are the
2 other projects?
The other characters, just start from scratch, right?
So first thing I could talk about is Tom's. I'm doing I'm writing in one of his characters In the Critiverse, or one of his characters, one of his teams, known as the Paranauts, which is kind of like a mix between the BattleTech MechWarrior franchise and Power Rangers. It's a really cool combo. I've had a lot of fun playing in that world. The other one is a little tight-lipped right now, but having a lot of fun writing about the Paranauts, that's for sure.
All right, cool. I don't know. I wanted to know about the tight lip stuff, but anyway, I'm just being nosy.
That's the Spider-Man book he can't talk about.
Oh, okay, that's what that
Yeah,
is.
yeah, that's exactly right.
All right.
You know, in the 90s, there was a mini series of Spider-Man. A lot of the covers were done by McFarlane, but it's about Peter Parker in Canada, in Toronto, and a couple of other areas where he visits, like Ghost Rider. Dan Ketch makes an appearance, and he like goes to different spots in Canada. I don't know the relevance of why that mini series exists, but interesting food for thought.
I don't think that's the miniseries. I think that's his book. Like McFarlane wrote Spider-Man,
No, this one's
and they
different.
went with like when to go and all that other kind of stuff.
No, this one's different. It's tailored towards kids. It has like a say no to drugs element to it. It's
okay.
more kid friendly.
Got it.
Okay. I don't even know what you're talking about, but okay.
Yeah, I don't either.
Would have been,
Now I'm curious to know. Yeah.
I am super curious. There's an underground McFarlane covered Spider-Man for kids comic books with Ghost Rider, and it's Canadian.
It's
Could have
like
been a-
one.
Could
I
have been
think
an
it's like
educational
5
comic.
issues long.
Yeah.
I
Could have
might.
been an
I'm
educational comic they were passing through the schools or something.
yes,
They've
yeah,
done that in
something
the
like
past.
that. It was.
It could have
It
been.
was.
I realized like we had something like that in like the inner city in like the late '80s, and it had like all the black superheroes in it. So it had like Luke Cage, Spider-Man, because he's black by association, Storm, and it was all dealing with them combating like drugs and weapons and gangs and things like that, neighborhood and stuff. And I thought that like everybody got that, but apparently some people did not.
Not all of us got that one, fortunately.
There's a great anti-drug comic out there by Wolfman and George Perez of the Teen Titans, and at the time they couldn't use Robin due to legal entanglements, so they put a different costume on him and called him Red Star.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty fascinating stuff.
that's interesting. All right. Marcus, what are your ambitions or what are your goals for the next 6 months?
Oh, survival is key.
There you go.
I've been really focused on that. But man, we got a lot coming down the pipeline. We're in a good position to where thankfully there wasn't, if I was here last week, there's not a whole lot that's possible on the list because we're pretty far into production on pretty much everything that's coming out later on in the year. So everything else is about kind of dipping my toes into things that are broadening the horizons a little bit. Some of that is going to be more educational, community focused things. We've been having some good responses to the panels that we've been doing at all the Comic Cons, and people were hungry for more of that. So now we're going to do a dedicated thing for it outside the con circuit that I'll be sharing hopefully pretty soon, maybe later on this week. Then get into some actual event organizing, which is going to be a real game changer there too. That's in the works. Pretty much solidified. So just waiting for the word I could do this. I'm in a similar situation with Ray. Like there's things that I got going on, but can't quite speak about them yet. Then of course on the comic side, we got probably a good 5-6 projects that's going to be coming out this year. All at pretty much different phases of like completion too. So it'll be interesting to see how everything shakes out. But right now, so far it's manageable without any serious issues coming up. It should all see the light of day before the calendar year is over. So that's what I'm excited about.
All right, cool. Tom, what are your thoughts?
So my thoughts are that the Canadian PSA books are books we've all seen, guys. They're in dollar bins everywhere. The first one is the first one. It has the McFarlane cover. As soon as you see it, you'll be like, I've seen that a million times. I had no idea they were Canadian. I don't know why I'm seeing them in dollar boxes down here if they're Canadian books, but they're books I've seen 1,000 times. So yeah, it is a little PSA miniseries. as far as what we're doing, I think really the key for me is just to maintain the momentum that we've built. We've got artists in place on things. They're doing their job, and we're fulfilling books. I'm going to have all this stuff fulfilled before I go to San Diego next week. We'll come back and get back onto Oz, and Donnie's doing that art. He's doing a great job. We've got Critterverse stuff, like Ray said, for next year that's already well underway. Scripts are done, art's underway. So we kind of got this nice, real big, almost like 6-month lead time running through. Let's finish up strong the rest of this year, and then we'll be really, really like hardcore ahead for the Critterverse stuff that'll be doing all year next year.
Oh, cool. For myself, like all over the place. Just launched another Oswald. What is it? Dreamweavers is out there. Magi's Grace 4 will be coming out, and probably maybe a trade by the end of the year. Should be cool. And there might be another Adventure Finders Volume 2 coming out by the end of the year. So that'll be interesting. So 3-4 more projects. There's a couple other things I'm doing with a few other guys who want to get that book out. So we'll get that finished and out there. And then, and then just moving forward to other stuff. I mean, I got about 2 or 3 other projects I'm contemplating pulling the trigger on finally. So as my plate clears up, some of those other projects I can start moving in on. But, yeah.
Does it ever really clear up, or you just push your vegetables around a little bit?
I eat the vegetables first, and then, but yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough because, it's like Magi's Grace number 4 is going to be done. Then it's a choice between myself and the artist whether or not we're going to continue with the series, or we're going to go our separate ways, or I don't know how that's going to work out, or if we just come back to it a year later. You know what I mean? Dreamweavers, I got to talk to my other partner, see how he's doing, and see what's going on with the 4th issue, or if I'm going to hire somebody new. And then with the Oswald Chronicles, it's just, constantly moving forward with that one. So it's just keep moving forward. And then, like I said, there are other projects with other creators that I'm working with. So, we'll see how that's going to roll out. But, we got to, get that done soon. And then there's another project I'm thinking about. So we got to, but I don't want to work on that until I'm done with the first one. So we'll see how that pans out. So, and then like everybody else, those are the projects we'll be announcing hopefully in the next couple of months. So, Tom, you got a question?
Sort of. I don't really know exactly how to put this together. So this happens a lot with the movies, and it makes a little more sense with the movies because you get like music and sound that kind of goes along with it. But I've been seeing it with comic book reviews and stuff too, where people come away from whatever the product is with like it's sort of a cliche catchphrase now. It's like, oh man, I'm vibing on this. This is the right vibe for me. Particularly within like horror stuff and things like that. But when I watch these reviews and stuff, it's like nothing you're telling me tells me that this story was good. Like everything you're telling me is, man, it was so creepy. Man, I really liked the cinematography. Man, I really liked it made me jump in my seat, whatever. And similarly with comics, people are coming in with comic reviews like, man, it's so scary and it's so, but I'm like, you're not telling me anything about the story. Like, what is the story? What is it? Is anything about the story vibing with you, or is it purely just like, oh, I love this art, I love this music, I love the sound, I love the jump scares? So, I guess the question is that are we not us, like us, just in this podcast, but in general as creators, are we starting to understand that the audience just wants a vibe and they're not concerned with like what because we're all basically writers in here, we're not really concerned with like the hardcore story, do you know what I mean? They just want to come into a world and go, oh, it's dark and it's weird and it's creepy and there's a monster and yay, and then they're done, right? And they're fine with that. They're not worried about where did the monster come from and what's his origins and why does his hand have 2 claws and the other has 3 claws. Like, they don't even necessarily care. They're just like, I'm in this world, I'm in it for a few minutes, and I'm out, and it gave me the chills, and I'm fine.
I've got a lot of
It feels
thoughts on
like
this one,
there's
on the
so
inside
much
and
of that,
outside.
and again, it's mostly like I see that with movies, but I am seeing it now with comics too. And so I'm just kind of curious, like, anybody have this experience? Anybody have this thought process of what's on the shelves is like vibe versus world building? Is it just concept for concept versus we're building something? What do you see? What are your thoughts?
All right. James, you're up. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm playing off what Tom just said. I got my 19-year-old daughter, and I'll be listening to a song in the car, and I'll look at her and go, "Do you even know what the lyrics are?" No, I'm just vibing with the song. Like, and the lyrics were like quite graphic, and I'm a little alerted that my 19-year-old daughter is singing a song about shaking her booty, but it's really for her is just about certain elements of it that she's enjoying, and she's not paying close attention to the details. Now, taking that metaphor, audiences for entertainment have been kind of stuck in that for decades. I mean, there are moments where something clicks beyond that superficial connection, but like vibing with something that's just nomenclature. Like, yeah, they're liking it. Yeah, it means they like it. But like you said, what are they liking? Are they liking the details? Are they liking the immersion? Are they liking the reasons behind it? Well, maybe they aren't. But they're liking it very much on the surface. And unfortunately, that kind of spells out the way things are just going with audiences in general. There's always the hardcore guys. They get more into it. They notice the shade of red on Superman's cape being different than the shade it was 3 issues ago, and that it means he's got a darker attitude or whatever the metaphor ends up being. But there's also ones who don't notice it. Like I did a basically it's a print of an image, and for me it's got all these metaphors about this flower getting off light and all this other stuff. But you know, when I showed it to my daughter, she says, "Oh, what a pretty flower," and just, you know, reacted and moved on. So that's just the thing with audiences, man. The immersion and the reaction is something where, you know, that's in a way our responsibility as creators to involve ourselves and be a part of that with our hardcore fans.
All right, cool. Randy, what are your thoughts?
I think it's a sign of sloppiness on the critic's part that you may be acquainting to the attitude of the entire world. Doesn't necessarily hold true, because you get a critic in there looking at a movie or a comic or whatever, and they really didn't pay attention or just kind of half glanced at it or flipped through the pages because they're on a deadline. Man, this is my jam. This is right in this is my vibe. That's the first thing critics gonna say is how he associates or they associate with the work, and they'll go all around it without having to mention any of the fine details because they didn't pay any attention to it. It's just sloppy critiquing, really, in my opinion. At the world, I think the big problem with the world, especially in comics right now, is the separation of readers from collectors and people that are just out to slab books and hope that they go up in price compared to people who actually pick up comics, read, and are entertained by them. You know, I think we've got two distinctly different markets there.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
And that we need to figure out how to, deal with the readers and grow that foundation out farther than the collectors. So, but I think that's kind of a collector attitude. Hey, picked up this comic. It's going to look great slabbed. You know, not caring exactly what's inside of it, except for the intrinsic value and how it can go up in price as soon as the next superhero movie comes out.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool.
That's my opinion.
Ray, what are your thoughts?
Well, as soon as you mentioned slab there, I was immediately, for some reason, I thought of the average comic collector, like comic book guy from The Simpsons, but Jabba the Hutt, and the slab comic is like Han Solo frozen in carbonate. That's the first thing that came to mind there.
Send him to
Anyways,
CDC for rating. That'd be hilarious.
But going back to the music parallel, in my opinion, there's people that like lyrics and there's people that like the beat. And people that like the beats nowadays, they use the term vibing, as already brought up. I think the real kicker to get a comic, people excited over a comic, the people that read the book for the sake of the story, and JD, you and many people have said, story is everything. When you have that one good story that you write and everybody buys in, I'm reminded of another thing, like horror movies was already brought up as well. This is not the best of horror movies, and it has a lot of flaws in it. I'm going to bring up M. Night Shyamalan's Signs. When I saw that in theater, the way it was portrayed, you're caught up in it. So that scene where the one is seen on the footage and it crosses the alleyway, despite all its flaws, it hits you. Like, you just remember that scene and it hits. And for me, the question is, for people that like the art should somehow reflect the story. I don't know how to get the collector heavy individuals to focus more on story. I can't do that. But my only attempted solution is to make sure that art reflects what's going on. Great example, all of my covers or any books that I provide, I always try to have the covers have something to do with what's going on inside. And that way you're actually like, you're focusing more on the lines and the colors. And don't get me wrong, those things are totally awesome, but it should feel more than a collection. It should feel, I want to know what's happening next. I don't really know the answer, but that's kind of my rambling thoughts on the topic, I guess.
Cool. Dan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd have to say that there is a priority on concept and vibe over execution. I don't think it's rocket scientist. If I was just like saying, okay, just go for sales and what people are like vibing on, then all I got to do really is get like Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, getting it on with Alice in Wonderland, with the threat of Cthulhu looming in the background.
Don't forget vampires.
I got a hit. Yeah, maybe some vampires.
Wasn't that Alan Moore's book?
Did he do that? All right. Well,
Yeah, Lost Girls. You just described Lost Girls.
Lost
Red
Girls,
Girls.
okay. But you throw in some other, like I said, popular public domain type characters, and again, you got a hit going, and if you're marketing it to, I guess, particular social causes, and then you have a connection with that cause, you can kind of put that out there also. And I think that's key to funding. Or if your vibe, which is the lowest common denominator, is just like TNA, which, you put the covers out, you get that. But then you look at the sample pages and you see it is the vibe or the concept over the actual book, because some of the art is really lacking. But I guess, again, you just get caught up in the overall vibe. I like those characters already. Look at that. There's a plushie or, backpack, or, one sneaker is painted with Alice and one sneaker is painted with Dorothy. Loving it. I'm in this vibe. But the actual book, which is, supposed to be the focal point, again, you look at the sample pages and you're like, oof. It's like the campaigns that have these amazing cartoons that are made as a video trailer, and you get the actual book, and it's like, oh. But you got caught up in that vibe, and we're not selling a DVD of a movie or something. We're selling a comic book. So, yeah, that's why I take the sample page above all the other, bells and whistles that people put up on a Kickstarter page, and kind of, make that the basis of my purchase. But a lot of people don't. They just get caught up conceptually or vibe. Yeah, that's my jam. I'm a big whatever fan, and there it is for me.
All right, cool. Marcus.
Okay, I'll try to be concise in my thoughts on this because I know what it is. Like it's not subjective opinion. It's fact. It's absolute fact of how things operate. The main portion is economics, which comes down to it. I've experienced myself in the past. I used to be a partner with a rather large literary company, and a lot of what I did depended on access to them and their talent to perpetuate what I needed to do. But since I have integrity, I always based everything around the creator's experience, what the project was, diving deep into those, whether it was interviews, podcasts, anything like that, sticking strictly to like an informational thing. Because naturally, if I have a relationship with said company and I am getting every book that they get and I get access to whatever creator that I want, and this is in perpetuity and I'm making money as a result on this, I want to keep up that relationship. So when you are doing a comic review, that is next to impossible to do because you have that looming over your head. If I burn these guys in the review, are they going to yank that access away from me? And that sort of transactional exchange exists everywhere across the media landscape right now. And we're seeing this thing a lot. If you go on TikTok, you go on Instagram, you'll look for comics-based content. You will find some personality influencer, usually a woman, usually an attractive woman, and usually scantily clad, promoting, say, comic books, talking about how cool the covers are, talking about how interesting the concept is, not giving a goddamn opinion on anything material-wise in the book. Because those people are paid. they're hired to do those things, or they're given that access one way or another. There's an exchange happening there. And from how everything has gone with the rise of the internet and influencers and everything like that, people have been pretty much groomed on getting non-existent like opinion as a form of content. You just have to give a tutorial of this. You just have to tell people about this because you got paid for it. We gave you a free box of this. Just talk about it, show people. You don't have to dig into the details of what something is, and people 9 times out of 10 aren't really expecting it because they just want it beamed into their face and they just want to consume. So a lot of our media has been based around that consumerism. And then there's the other aspect of it, and that's that media literacy is in the fucking toilet. People don't know how to think about what makes something good or not. They don't know how to, like, one of the main things that I do at a lot of my panels, and when I do editorial stuff one-on-one with people and things like that, a lot of it is just like teaching them what is actually good, what's a good story, what's a good concept. And that's not just like saying everything has to be some like fucking Eisner quality thing. No, absolutely not. But you have to understand what you're making. You have to be able to understand your concept, and a lot of people do, but you also have to understand how to execute that concept in a way that's satisfying for readers. And a lot of people don't know how to do that. They think if they're doing the minimum, it looks pretty, has nice pictures, the lettering is okay, like everything's passable, everything's at a certain tier, like then that's good enough. And a lot of times people they reinforce that idea. They'll continually back those things on Kickstarter. They'll continually pick them up in the store. It's hard for me to read like major publisher comics these days because I read it and I try to give it a shot and I'm just like, I don't see it, and I'll see people raving about it, and I won't put anything on blast here, but things that are like burning up the boards, and I'm like, I don't see the appeal of this. There's no story here. And it's just like, what are people liking? They're liking vibes. They're liking popularity. They're liking people telling them that this thing is cool. go ahead and you should enjoy it too because I like it. And that's also set into like the sort of hive mind that we're getting into. I don't know if a lot of people were as online as I was back in say circa 2008 to 2012 to 14 or so, but actually in-depth opinion on like YouTube to like personal blogs, websites, and everything. Everyone was offering like their sometimes too much of their opinion, but to the point it was like overkill. But like all these hipster blogs and everything like that on any set of esoteric topic that you wanted to cover, it was out there and it was in the sphere. And I think a lot of fandoms got cultivated during that time, but we've seen a contrition from that. Now the individual opinion is no longer as valid as it is the point of everybody vibing to someone, everybody just enjoying the same thing, everyone coming to the same conclusion about the same thing. And there's no...
You're reminding me a lot of that Simpsons episode where Malibu Stacy now comes with a new hat.
Yes. Exactly. And Simpsons always did it, but that's what everything comes down to. So we have mainly a media sphere that has no longer tailored to critical thinking and critical opinion, unless it's like going all the way on the other side and you're just getting these portrayers like the shit on everything you develop, following just based on that, to people who just want to be kind of absentmindedly like entertained and things like that. And I experienced this a lot, and it was like my first like am I old feeling, because my son really wanted to go see Backrooms. I was like, yeah, I'm digging on this. He was like A24 stuff too, and the movie was a very vibe heavy movie, and the audience was nearly entirely like Gen Z, and the movie happened and the lights went up and then everyone was clapping and I'm just like standing around. I'm like, what the fuck did I miss? Because I'm kind of like, I didn't want to go get my ticket refunded or anything like that, but I'm like, there's some serious fucking problems in this movie here, and like I can't sit here and be satisfied and fucking clap at the screen.
Which movie was this?
Another state. Backrooms.
Backrooms. Okay.
So
that was me with signs.
So and again, it's just like I talk to people online because like I try to like understand like, okay, am I missing something? I'm not a part of that thing. I didn't watch YouTube videos and all this creepypasta stuff about Backrooms. Am I missing important context? All I was repeatedly told was that like, oh, it's not supposed to do this. It's just supposed to be a vibe. Literally, these are the words that people are repeatedly telling to me. It's just supposed to be a vibe. Maybe you didn't get it because you're looking for a story that's coherent and makes sense, and that's
there you go.
And
sometimes they just want popcorn, dude.
Yeah, they just want popcorn, so just like shut up and enjoy the vibe of the movie, and you should love it for that.
Bought a $40 bag of popcorn and it came with a free half movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're from the generation that as we were kids, they had the movie like Speed. Speed was not really an elaborately written movie. No. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing repeating itself over and over. I'm sure if you talk to somebody who grew up with movies in the 40s, they would say the same thing, that all of our media, for the same reason, because media literacy definitely plays a part, that our own media literacy drives us to like movies like Speed.
Well, it's like at the same time, the Speed wasn't presenting itself to be something else. And then this is where the context of what's being created, like I was talking about, matters. You saw the advertisement or trailers for Speed. It's like, this fucking bus can't slow down. It's gonna blow up if it can't stop. Like, what you're getting into. This is not.
It didn't hide that it was popcorn.
Yeah. Right. Now, when A24 is marketing this, and they're known for, I hate saying like elevated horror, but that's the thing. And that's what they're known for. And they're supposed to be thinking man's films, in a certain regard, or at least have like a certain level of like that really auteur touch to them. And they're getting you excellent actors and, like the set dressing, like the direction, like everything, like beautiful, great, fantastic. But then they're not giving you they're not giving you the content that is associated with that. So they are feeding you like a Scorsese horror film or something like that, and you are getting like a Chroma film.
Mm-hmm.
There's a
false advertising.
Yeah, it's false advertisement. It's not because like they're trying to pull the wool over your eyes. Like it's again who they're making these films for, how they're meant to be digested, and like I think the director was like 20 years old or something like that. So he's very young, and he's very much of like the generation that he's producing stuff for. So likely he himself, he's not seeing those things from the script because his understanding of media is like it just has to be cool. It has to do these things. It has to touch on these points. It has to be kind of spooky and scary. And if I do all those things, then people are going to love the movie. And by and large, you know, if that's what he thought, he was absolutely correct. And he made a shitload of money in the process. So like that's not to keep dumping on the film or anything like that, but it's like the perfect example of what Tom is touching on, where it's like I'm watching reviews about it. I'm talking to real people online about it. I'm looking to find what I think might be the holes in my own understanding, just to be met with, you know, I should be placated by something because it's cool and shiny. It's a thing that everybody likes. So, like, stop talking about it. Carry on.
All right.
I think I'm done from there.
All right. That's fair enough. You know, it's funny to spin off of what you said, right? I just finished reading a book. And it's a European book. It's called Druna, right, by Superior. I can never pronounce the guy's name, right? Beautiful book. Right? I've seen it for years in heavy metal, and it features this beautiful, voluptuous woman, right? And, you know, in various states of undress, right? And that's all the book is about. You know, I don't care. You could tell me there's a story in there. I read all 650 pages. I'm like, no, it's just about her moving from point A to point B. And maybe they started with the story, but I'm telling you, somewhere in the middle, it was just getting her from point A, getting her from one state of undress to undressed to having sex, and then getting her back to being in some state of dress to undress to having sex, and then moving on. That's all it was.
600 pages, you said.
600 pages, beautifully illustrated. Beautifully illustrated.
Is
True
that
heavy
the
metal,
Milo
man.
Manara stuff?
No, it's not Milo Manara. The guy's name is Superior. Is like Seppier, something. I don't know how to pronounce his name. But like I said, beautifully illustrated. Listen, it was worth looking at her ass for 600 pages. I'm going to tell you right now. It was 600 pages of beautiful ass.
So you're vibing. You're vibing.
That's just it. It was the
jam.
vibe. That's all it was. It was all about the vibe. There's a story.
Something else was vibing, I bet.
Well, hey, you know.
Well, a pinup book doesn't have a plot, so, you know.
No. It's not a pinup book.
I know that. I'm just
You know,
saying, though,
yeah.
you can enjoy a pinup book with no plot.
Right.
So,
But I mean,
in that respect,
Image
Yeah.
lived off of that for years.
facts. Just ask Todd McFarlane. He'll tell you, well, I just throw the pages in the air, however they land. That's how they land.
That's the story.
That's it. So yeah, I mean, it was very, very strange, right? So that, like, you know, in reading the book, because it's 600 pages, and I'm like, you know, this dude put in a lot of work. There's a story in there about, you know, an alien spaceship and how everybody's plugged into like this new form of life, and how the computer's trying to save all the humans by extracting their brains and putting them into new bodies and all this high-minded stuff. But in the meantime, we're going to show you some sex. We're going to show you this chick's butt. So I think it was just to distract you from what was really going on. It was just, I don't know. It was painfully entertaining.
What an interesting combination of words. Painfully entertaining.
See, that is a quote on the back of the book.
This book
Painfully
is painfully entertaining.
My pants will never be the same.
Let me tell you, and I don't think this has anything to do with Tom's point. I just wanted to point out that I think, going to Tom's question, I think one of the issues is that I think nobody wants to make an enemy of anyone anymore, right? So nobody wants to insult anybody, right?
Unless they can do it anonymously.
Right. Exactly. That's different. Right? We have people that come into chat all the time and, want to say stupid shit, but it's all anonymous. Like, I don't know who you are, right? So I'm not going to put your shit up on the screen. So, but, and I get it. You don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but, people have to understand there's a difference between a critical review, right? You could also do a friendly review, just a regular review, say, like, I liked it, didn't like it, whatever, and just move on. Right. But if you're going to say you didn't like it, people are going to ask you why you didn't like it, what was wrong with it, blah, blah, blah. And, listen, I could sit back and say, I don't like Teletubbies. Remember that whole nonsense, right? Teletubbies. Who the fuck like Teletubbies? 4-year-olds like Teletubbies. And God bless them for it. Because that's what it's made for.
Yeah,
That depends on how good your drugs are, though.
It's part of the thing. It's part of the answer is, we all of us can look back at things that we sort of watched, experienced, read in like the 70s and 80s. And we all know that when you're a kid, you're vibing more than you're paying attention to anything. So, there's a lot of that that comes into the sort of the quote unquote, the answer to all of this. All of us, we've kind of been there, we've seen it. And while I'm sure we all appreciate a vibe, we all also kind of are looking for like, but is there anything else? Or are we just here for the picture, right? And if we understand that we're only here for the picture, we understand. That's the context. You're here for the thrill, the picture. There's not a lot of depth here. Enjoy it. Okay, got it. But
image count.
There's so much stuff that's just like, I look at it and I'm like, this looks devoid of anything but the picture. And so that's where I start to struggle with a lot of things. And I'm like, are we just throwing concepts out just to see what something might vibe on, in order to get a hit, whether it's a movie or a comic or whatever. And
I got a reflection on that.
Yeah. What do you got, Ray?
What do you got, Ray?
Okay. What I'll say is there's been a generational issue there. When you have younger individuals that are like, if they're ever uncomfortable with something, they don't say they're uncomfortable with a thing. They say the thing is awkward. They never explain how they're related to that conflict kind of thing, which I think is an undertone to what we're talking about. But also, if younger generations know they're not going to be challenged up front, it's a double-edged sword, because when you get critiqued harshly, you refine yourself, you thicken your skin, and you move on. There's good to that. On the flip side, if you know you're not going to get that, you can throw something out. Nobody's going to say it's bad. You might not make sales, but nobody's going to say it's bad. And I think that's kind of a really heavy reflection of what we're talking about, because the older generations in this craft aren't dealing with this as much, I guess, as I don't know if that's a good way to put it, but I think you guys know what I'm trying to say there.
That makes sense, but I just wanted to point out it takes some dedication in her work to make 700 pages of space ass.
Oh yeah, and let me tell you,
that's a lot.
But that's from a different generation. That's for I don't care. I'm going to do this, and I think it's awesome, and that's all that matters. We're going to go, and here we are.
And it's not just drawing ass; it's to the level of craft and talent that he drew that ass. I'm telling you, this book is beautiful.
Yeah, right. That makes sense. Well, like Randy said, that's the whole thing Image Comics was based on. Well, if you really like space ass, your story may not be complicated, but man, like if you do it really, really well, it's a whole thing about a guy who does one thing really, really well. He draws space ass. That's the thing,
and is really good with a circle template.
Yeah.
I mean, let me tell you though, it's I joke about it, but there is a plot, there is but I'm just telling you, it is just so overcome by this other aspect of it. You know what I mean? So yeah. Anyway, Tom, you got any more?
Back to Tom's point though, I caught the grandkids. And sorry, I know I'm going to sound like the old codger curmudgeon that I am, but I caught the grandkids watching YouTube. All they were doing was watching somebody playing a video game.
Mm.
I'm like,
Get the
okay,
reactions. Yeah.
what's the plot of the game? They couldn't tell me. They just sat there and watched this dude running through this room. That's
Again, part of what I think, again, the
Where's
answer
the
is
plot?
we also live in this weird culture right now where everything's just ADHD. Everybody reads the headline of an article and doesn't read the article, and they think that they know what the article said. Like, we're so fast to just like absorb a thing and then make a decision on that in an instant, rather than trying to actually get into it and see if there's actually levels to it that hey, let's have a discussion, let's have a conversation. No, I just like it because I like it. Well, okay, that's fair. I have no problem with that being your thought process, but you know, as you get, I think it really is an age thing. I mean, because for me, like when I review movies and stuff, and I tell people that a movie that they liked, I think is garbage, and I start to lay out the bullet points as to why, they don't want to hear any of that. They're just like, well, I just like it. I'm like, well, that's fine, but we can't have a discussion with I just like it. I want to have a discussion about what you liked, what I didn't like. Let's compare, let's contrast. It doesn't mean either of us is right or wrong, but let's have that back and forth. Let's have a little
Hash
fun
it out.
with it. Yeah, let's have a
talk it
little
out.
fun with it. None of us are going to go to war over whether or not Supergirl is good or bad. Who the hell cares? But let's have a little fun, and I want to see where you're coming from, because maybe you do have a point that something I missed that you saw, and I could, oh, you know what? I did miss that. But it just feels like we're so surface level on so much entertainment now that it's just like, well, I like the music, and I like she had a good costume, and that's all that matters. I know I liked it and I was done.
Well, I get that, but a little bit of that may be the bias that people come to as writers about, a piece of work and not looking so much at the art. I'll give you an example. My son loves death metal. Loves it. I can't understand a word that I've been saying. I can't understand any of it. I don't get the point whatsoever. Yes, I listen to metal. Yes, him listening to death metal is technically my fault. But at first, I looked at that and went, what the hell is wrong with him? Well, this has to be simple. This has to be, I don't get it. Until I spend the time to sit down and understand it from his perspective. And dude, you get him started talking about the band Death, and he will talk for like 3 hours. They're not even together anymore, but he'll still talk to you for hours. And the reason why, it's not an obsession with the culture, an obsession with the things happening with the band. He really, really loves what they did with how they wrote the music and how they do that, and about how the growling is some commentary.
Yeah, but see, that's an articulate response. And that's what I'm talking about. If you've got an articulate response, I want it, even if we disagree. But so many of these responses are just, oh, I just love how they make the brrr, and I love that. That's their answer.
You're right, and that is a really common response. However, if you ask him to do the same thing about the music my daughter listens to, it's like, no, it's pop, it's crap. It's that short. I don't listen to pop. And part of the thing that the internet did is it allowed all of us, and I mean all of us, every person, to find their niche, to find their little unique category of where they can niche down and look inside of what they truly love and expand it with other people who do like it. And as a result, they don't really expand their minds beyond it to other categories.
Right.
Like there are musicians that will talk about how they love what they make and about how they totally enjoy this other genre. And the other genre is not even related to the stuff they make. And he's not there yet. I mean, he's 15. He's got a ways to go. But the point about it is that he does have that capacity. And he does have that capacity for the stuff that he loves. But the stuff that is just something he tolerates or something like that, it's a very surface level, glossy thing. So in some cases, maybe it's more, once again, on us about who are we trying to communicate to? Are we talking to the right people? Has the internet and society changed so much that we only look at the things we love? It's that combination of it's that combination of a concept.
All right, cool. Well, listen, there's definitely a concept I want to look into, and it's the Ballad of Nod. James, you want me to play this video?
Of course I do.
All right.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for some Paladin Not. We are returning here. We are up with issue number 3. So the story takes a turn. Life takes a turn. In our story, Faye has managed to go from the place where she is the scared little girl. She is the person and creature filled with fear that is attracted to all these nightmares from the dream world. The only thing protecting her was Patches. He's been drug into the darkness. But now is the moment we've all been waiting for. Now is the moment where she finds Patches. She gets to face the demon that took the one thing that she felt safe with. But you want to know what? She's got friends with her, and they get involved. And you know what? Life is not as simple as we'd all like it to be. Now, everybody who has had the courage to go ahead and back us before, please go ahead and take a look at the following video and do so. And everybody else who hasn't done it before, take a moment to look at the videos that comes up, because I want to share this story. I want to get it out to people who are afraid of the darkness. I want to get it out to everybody who needs to hear the words. Never underestimate a girl and her teddy bear.
Cool.
Dude, that trailer is hard for me to watch every time. And when they get to the black and white scenes, it's hard for me to watch it. Even drawing it was hard. It reminds me of a lot of things.
All right, cool. Well, James, tell us what the story is about, and what are the things you're coming across when you see that stuff.
Well, the story of the Ballad of Nod is about a little girl who is dealing with the fact that she lost her dad, and she feels all the fear, all the anxiety, all the sadness, and because she does, there are nightmares and demons and things in the dream world that come after her, and the only thing protecting her is a teddy bear. So the teddy bear gets drugged into the dreamland, and she has to make the decision to go after him. So we're on the journey about her going after them. That was the first issue. In the second, now we're in the third, where she finally manages to find her teddy bear, and basically it's time for her to confront the demons, and the emotions as well as all the excitement kind of ramps up in this issue.
All right, cool. Is this the third and final issue, or are there more issues coming?
It's the third of 6. Kira and I set it out there for it to be, when it's finished, it's going to be about 240 pages. So far, it's been about 32 on each one. So we're about halfway through the story, to the point where certain things are going to escalate. She's got some friends she found in the dream world, a giant dream jaguar cat named Misago, and a hamster that she accidentally brought with her. And both of them are helping her find the teddy bear deep inside of the darkest part of her nightmares.
All right, cool. Very nice. Now, what type of, I know you've been working on this for a while. Are you releasing like 2 to 3 books a year? Or like what type of release schedule do you have?
Well, unfortunately, I tried to do 3 books a year was my original goal. However, last year that got derailed quite a bit. Unfortunately, there were some health aspects that kind of made it so that I wasn't able to get more than the first 2 out. This year, I'm taking it slightly slower, and I'm getting. My goal is this year to get 2 more of them out and not try to push it. I'm all the artwork, all the lettering, all of it inside is all by me. And the aspects that I get help with are I have a great editor. There he goes. That part is Uncle Kender, is a good friend of mine. And my sister Kira, who helps me write it. So I'm trying to make sure that I get those ones done. And we're looking at about 2 issues or so a year as far as it's going. And barring me not being dumb enough to cause another stroke. So we'll see how it goes.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Cool.
Yeah, I drew most of this book while I was actually recovering. And so it was a whole journey of my own on top of the fact that I was trying to get the book actually done and learn how to do a lot of things all over again.
Okay. So let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, like, what are some of the key difficulties that you were finding?
Well,
like an illustration.
Well, before that happened, like a year ago, more than a year ago, I didn't need any of the inside of Clip Art. There's a Clip Studio. There's a part of the software that straightens your lines as you draw. It helps you draw, basically. I never had any of that stuff turned on, and this time I had to play with it at first because my lines would be crooked as hell. I mean, crooked. And I had to learn more about the tools and other things to be able to draw even close to my normal standard.
Right.
And I'm now back up to like 99%, and I feel normal again, finally. But it was, at first, I couldn't even write my name. So for a while there was a lot of different things I had to go through. I went through physical therapy with some great nurses, and my wife was an immense help. Took very good care of me and helped me along. She was patient with me, although I did push her patience quite a few times.
Right.
So those kind of things were a part of the book, and I tried my best to make it a part of the surrealism and allow the fact that it was in the dream world and that things were different than normal to become a part of it, so to speak.
Okay, cool. I mean, listen, man, I think, you're doing a fine job. I mean, I love the book. I'm looking forward to all, the other issues. So great books. So everybody, got another 11 days to go. Still needs a little help. So go back this book. This is a really good book because I've read the first 2 issues. A really nice book. Go check it out.
I appreciate that, JD. Thank you.
You're welcome. What was that? No. Mr. Sehn.
All right.
Talk to me. Who are these guys? Well, this video. You want me to play this?
Only if you have your dancing shoes on.
Really?
No. Go
Oh,
ahead.
okay. 'Cause I was going to say, I don't need any more copyright strikes. Thank you.
No.
New York's been quiet, too quiet. But when smoke rises, Cosmos brings the fire. GWP, yeah, we rise from the block. Guys with powers on the move, time to put smoke on lock. He running drugs, running guns, but he can't be stopped. We the mega hero squad and we taking that shot. GWP, yeah, the city gon' see. When Cosmos calls the plate, that's a whole new league. New York in the business, but we fight as a team. Guys with powers, baby, welcome to the regime. Cosmos in the sky, that's hell on the lead. Cosmic energy crackling like a star going free. He the brain, he the plan, he the calm in the heat. When the city's on the line, he the one you wanna meet. Jazz, take the sellers, yeah, she burning like a nova. Radioactive girl, burn the block into a supernova. She flying through the night with that isotope glow. If If you dealing in the shadows, she gon' let that fire flow. Low phase in the cut, tear shifting through the planes. Multi-dimensional mind, chaos energy in his veins. Weapons disappear, nah, they ain't coming back. He drop them in the void like a one-way track. The Manico on the bias, yeah, he built like a tank. Skin tough like amber strength, heavy like a bank. You can shoot, you can swing, you can pray, you can run. But he's standing in the doorway like I'm not the one. Then the twins hit the scene, Trey and Shamika. Turbo twins moving fast like a double feature. 5 feet apart, nah, that's when they lose it. But side by side, they unstoppable bruisers. Flip kick combo, 2-person flow. Second gen heroes with a legacy to show. Buyers, sellers, villains, everybody getting checked. When the walkers hit the block, that's respect. GW, yeah, we rise from the block. Guys with powers on the move, time to put smoke on. Like he running drugs, running guns, think he can't be stopped. But we the mega hero squad and we picking that shot. GW, yeah, that's it, he gon' see. When Cosmos calls the play, that's a whole new league. New York in the palace, but we fight as a team. Guys with powers, baby, welcome to the regime.
Yeah. That's cool.
That was interesting.
Yeah,
Dude,
you're
that
not
was
gonna get
so
too
much
much.
fun. I
Yeah.
loved that trailer. That was great. I love listening to that. That was awesome.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to get a copyright strike because there's going to be some dude who's going to pop up and say, well, it had the word New York in it.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Worth
That's
the risk.
Right. It says, it said guys, bastards. They got to go fight them. So,
Yeah, but the lyrics do describe the characters actually. So
no, they do. I mean, yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I found entertaining about it. Because at first I was like, what is Dan doing? And then I was like, oh, it actually ties in with the book. It's not some random rap thing.
Yeah, dude, I liked it. That was good.
Wow, thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that was a good sell.
Mhm.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's our covers there, and that's the interior artist as well.
Mhm.
Ron Charles Williams, Tio Pinheiro doing the colors. And I have Ray McKay doing the, I guess in comics they call it script, but it's dialogue. So it wasn't like the script of the story.
And dude,
Sean
I gotta say that title is kind of interesting as well. Guys with GWP, guys with power. That's kind of clever.
Yeah, I was watching a show that had SWV, Sisters with Voices, and kind of like, hey, I'm surprised NWO isn't the thing that got me going in that direction, but it was SWV, and I was like, man, be cool to have a comic that has like some initials like that.
All right, cool. So what is the story based on? What's going on in the series?
All right. Well, you got a crime lord who's pretty much got a lot of resources, and he's kind of like has, I guess, villains faking superpowers due to technology to be heroes. He's kind of funding that. GWP has been, on his case for a while, tracking all this, and now they're making their move to stop him. But it kind of originates out of the fact that everyone who's involved in the book. Francisco Zamora is the letterer. That's the only one I had not mentioned there. It kind of stemmed out of the fact that I had a character from Malta, because that's half of my background, but I am also half Dominican. So I didn't have a character that was Dominican, and the character there in the red, white, and blue, that's pretty much the Dominican flag. Domenico, I brought him in to kind of represent that. And then the rest of it, that's why I asked if Rosario was going to be here, because for some reason in my mind, I have you, JD, as Queens and him as Brooklyn, but I could be off on that.
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Well, I mean, that's just currently where we live.
Yeah.
He lives in Brooklyn. I live in Queens, but I'm originally from Manhattan, partially
Okay.
from Brooklyn. I mean, from all over the place.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was in Long Island, but my parents were from Greenpoint. So in my earlier years, went to Greenpoint to see my grandmother all the time. Then I had a best friend in Flatbush, and I would, go past Kings Plaza, uh, hang out with him. Got into Bed-Stuy, and I'm like, man, this would be a good place for a comic. Just like at that point, it was a little rough and a little rough area.
Oh yeah.
But a lot of comics represent Manhattan. I didn't think anything really had like that. What I was seeing in Bed-Stuy. So I'm like, let me give this comic to people. I mean, half the comics are probably 80% of the comics in Manhattan are people who are not in Manhattan. But up until 4 years ago, being a lifelong New Yorker and visiting that area, I thought, let's take it out of Manhattan, put it in a area like that. And that's where the whole concept originated. But I like to think that it gives it a little more authenticity than you'd see from, some book randomly done from someone who isn't familiar with the area.
How many issues is it, Dan?
It's a 3-issue miniseries, and we have the same creative team. I mean, it's penciled, inked already, pretty much colored. That's how I brought in Ray McKay. I did some dialogue. I don't know if the rest of you have the same creative process, but I don't like fully dialogue the stories. If the dialogue is pertinent to the scene, I'll put it in. Otherwise, I'm trying to just get the artist to draw whatever actions I'm trying to convey, and then I save the dialogue for later. So I had started working with Ray McKay, who's been doing work for a few indie companies, and I said, let me just get his take on the dialogue. I'm editor, so I can always, see what it is afterwards, and if I think something's off for characterization on any particular character, I could just, kind of tweak it. But he did a fantastic job. Ron, I've worked with before, who did the art, Ron Charles Williams. Really pleased with that. Tio Pinheiro did a bunch of colors for me. I mean, the whole crew, Francisco Zamora, again, lettered a bunch of books for me. So it all came together, I think, very well. And, I got kind of pumped up to do this one. Because sometimes I'll do a few books on a Kickstarter, but I figured let me just try to present this very clearly to people, because I think it was well done, like extremely strong conceptually and execution.
All right, cool. So 3-issue limited series, what type of release schedule are you looking at? You're looking at twice a year, annual?
Well, if I can get the second issue this year, that'll be good. I mean, as I said in my intro, I have this Earthfall, which was a crossover that I was just going to take part of, but then it became evident that no one really knew how to do a Kickstarter or anything. So I kind of took on more and more work on that, and now I have that in pre-launch. Earthfall, Page Alfred, or Alfred Page, I should say, who has done chess for a number of years. He kind of had the gestation of the story, but more creators came in. Nigel Flood came in with the Celtic Clan. There was a number of really solid creators who we brought in. Each kind of has their own chapter. So Earthfall, if you look up that on Kickstarter, that'll show up. And then I had another book, Clickbait, which I won't, go too far into that. But again, looking up Clickbait on Kickstarter will get you to that book. It is a little more, it's safe for work, but a little more spicy. And I said to myself, with these books that are kind of, not safe for work. What would I do on that occasion? Because I'd want it to have some substance and make some sense as to, why is everyone getting unclothed and everything like that. So, going to that Kickstarter page will give you that concept. So, to answer your question, roundabout way, it depends on when I can get these other Kickstarters
Finished.
Fulfilled, because I like to fulfill, or at least have it at the printer before I'm going to launch the next one.
Right.
And then, I mean, like I said, GWP, I really believe in it, and I don't want people to wait too long and lose interest. So I'll try to, keep things rolling and get to that one, number 2.
All right, cool. Well, you got 23 days left. You're already funded, so you're well on your way. So yeah, good job. Very nice.
No, I
Dan,
appreciate it.
yeah, I mean, you always put out great books, so just keep up the good work.
I appreciate that.
All right, real quick, I got 2 campaigns running. I made the mistake of launching on Friday, and I didn't realize nobody was around, so my campaign got ignored. So this is the Oswald Chronicles. This is we were just passing through. This is number 1, and this is the book in color now, right? So I've released this book in black and white. I've put out a trade on it, and now this is it in color. And the colors are done by David Montoya, who worked over at Milestone Comics, and he also worked over at Broadway Comics with Jim Shooter for a while. And he's just getting back into the business, and I've been working with him for a couple of years. We've been friends forever. And so the first issue is in color, so it's out. I'm running a very short campaign, 17 days. I'm almost funded, but it was just a little weird. It didn't hit off the way my campaigns normally do, but I think it has a lot to do with the weekend and the fact that it is my 3rd bite at this apple. So we'll see how this goes, but I'm pretty sure we'll fund and we'll just move forward. But
would the 4th of July have anything to do with that as well?
Yeah, I do think that the 4th of July, like me launching on Friday, which is a couple of days before the 4th, everybody's away, everybody's doing business, family and stuff. So I just think I got ignored. I screwed up my first day by doing that. Like I should have launched it on Monday, which is tomorrow. That's probably when I should have launched it. But live and learn. That's okay. I got another 15. I got another 15, 20 campaigns to go. And then what else? Real quick, I have Dreamweavers 1 through 3 currently up. This is already funded, and I have another 20 days to go. So, and this one will be running longer than the Oswald campaign. So, and this is issue 3. So, all right. So let's move on. Marcus, you got a question?
Yes, sir. This is one that was on my mind quite a bit as I'm going into some stuff. I want to ask the panel today, if you could add any skill to your creative repertoire, to your toolbox, if you will, what would that be?
Yeah, interesting. Randy, you're up.
Marketing.
There you go.
Damn, Randy, you took my answer.
You took all my answers, right?
That'd be it right there. Yep.
Yeah. All right, that's fair. Mr. Ray, you're up.
Putting marketing aside, specific skill sets, anything where I could do it myself. So that could be anything from like voice acting for trailers, for example, or I mean, being able to ink somebody's pencils or anything where I could put myself in, but also how to do that without spending more time or taking more time away from the 24 hours in a day. I don't know if I could be any more concise than that. If you had to narrow me down to one, I don't think network or marketing. I think networking.
Also, I'm gonna say it because
it
it bears repeating, but I also said like creative skill. Now, if you consider networking in marketing and really, really creative fields, we can go with those. But
Gotcha.
the question was posited specifically a creative skill. And
So
some people
creative
with
skill?
marketing is creative skill, so I can.
So Ray, your answer should be listening.
Creative listening, to be specific. Creative, not critical. Creative listening. I'm going to listen with my eyes instead of my ears. That'd be creative. Also, I mean, just to refine my answer then, something that I can be not just the writer. So inking, I gave that as an example. I gave an example of voice acting. Any of those things where I can put myself more into the product. I think that would be it.
Okay. Dan, what are your thoughts?
Well, marketing would have been my answer as well, but as a creative type of skill, I mean, I drew Argo 5 #1, and now I'm lettering Argo 5 #48, and I have drawn 0 issues since Argo 5 #1. So part of it is just the time of being writer, editor, do a good amount of lettering, art director, whatever these other jobs, marketing that I'm supposed to be doing. So if I could beef up the artistic skills and somehow stop time and have the time to actually draw, then that would be something I'd be interested in. In actuality, we just launched How to Draw Characters from the Thunder Zone on Amazon yesterday. And it was put together by Jerome Hines, who's in Singapore. Okay, he's an artist, has a book with us in Thunder Zone called Supercross, which is a bunch of superheroes in Singapore. And he put together, from, I guess, the last 6 years or so of Thunder Zone, this art book, because he was doing a lot of the promotional images and stuff. And he's the president of the Association of Comic Artists in Singapore. So he put a how-to book out. And in our stream yesterday of launching this, that's on the Madness Entertainment Network. He has a show about drawing comics, and he has a late night art attack on Friday. Saturday is his draw along. But for the launch of the book, I decided I would do one of these lessons and draw for the first time in like 5 years. So, and
I'm sure that wasn't scary at all.
Yeah, just live drawing, and I don't have a tablet, so there's no undo. I pointed the camera towards the drafting table and was drawing. Hopefully the viewership on that video is not that large so that no one sees it. No, obviously I want the book to sell. So, but yeah, if I could beef up the art skills, and look, which of us wouldn't want to draw our own Art Adams or J. Scott Campbell cover, of that quality? That would be a great talent to have, to be able to pull off something like that without seeking that commission. And if it's an artist who wants any partial upfront, sweating it out as to whether or not you're going to actually see this art. So I guess the art skills would be one thing that I would. And I ordered that book, How to Draw Characters from Thunder Zone, on Amazon. Ordered it July 4th. Gets here July 9th. I have, but I have who knows how many How to Draw books. Bart Sears, Brutes and Babes, and Hogarth's books, and all this drawing from life. I have so many art books. Time as always becomes the limiting factor to read all these and apply all the lessons, when in actuality I think I'm published 150 books by now. That's, you can't time is not infinite, right? So getting done what I can get done.
James, what are your thoughts on the question?
Well, since we modified it to be creative, it's kind of weird. I'm basically relearning everything. But if I had to specifically put one, I'm colorblind. And so when I'm doing stuff, I'm always worried and having to have people change it and take a look at it. And so as a result, I never really developed the ability to paint and to do things like watercolors and stuff like that. I just never had that as an ability. So with this one, I've been trying to develop ink washes and play with light and a bunch of other things. So if I just say there was a creative skill I wanted to learn, it was going to have to be those ink washes. And I've taken the time to take those steps because, yeah, Dan's right. We only have so much time. And if we're going to identify a skill that we want, then the only way to get a skill that we want is to practice it when we're not ready to practice it. And to spend the time to invest in ourselves to do it. And that's there is no other way to make a skill. There is no other way to practice anything. I mean, if you saw what the things looked like just a year ago, I was drawing. I was really upset. I was drawing like a 12-year-old. I was really upset. And when I started doing physical therapy, the nurses were having me do like playing with dice or fidget spinners and all that stuff to get my dexterity back. And what I did was I took that and applied it to everything else I love to do. And I just, even though it wasn't good enough, I started drawing. And so I've roughed out a romance series that I roughed out the entire thing. It's like 10 issues or whatever. And because it was a rough, I started developing hand-eye coordination from it back, and then I moved on into something else. So that's definitely where it is. I've always been jealous of an artist who can do watercolor and play with light like that. I totally would love to be a part of that.
Cool. Tom.
I mean, the easy answer is just art, but the reality is I don't have time to do someone else's job, so I don't want it. I'd rather just keep writing and get better at what I do, so that when I hand that script to an artist, that script is better and better and better, and it works better for their side of it. If I'm going to be like, well, I'm going to write and draw this book, that means that all that time spent drawing that book means I'm not writing my other books. So. Or I'm not, it's taking away time from my shipping, or it's taking away time from other things I got to do. So I don't want to do anyone else's job. Everybody else, do your own job. Just do your job well, and everything will be fine.
That's a good point. From my perspective, I'm the artist, and I had to learn to myself to help write and to learn it with my sister and things like that. But when it comes to the art, the way I look at it is my job, and I am trying to get better at it. And from like when I am working out storylines, I rough the book first. I don't write out the script. I have like a loose outline, and then I rough the entire thing and then edit it, and then give it to my sister Kira and say, where did I screw up, and go on from there.
Cool.
I think a lot of people see that too, because I mean, how many artists have gone like the same path? And Frank Miller, like probably the biggest one. I mean, Frank Miller mastered artwork by the 70s, and he just spent more and more time stepping away from that, even though he could draw a book just as good as anybody he could hire. He wanted to maximize his talent as a writer.
Frank Miller's a good example.
Phil Hester is another one of his greats. Phil Hester's a great artist. He's always one of my favorite artists from back in the day. And he eventually just left it behind too to do more stuff on the writing side, maximize his ability there. So yeah, there's always a take and give too. I think that some people like being more polymaths and doing a lot of different think some people prefer, master that one punch like Bruce Lee used to say, do that one move. Fear the man who's done it 1,000 times versus the guy that does a little bit there.
While my heart always says I'm an artist, what I really try to say is that I'm a storyteller, and that the art is part of that. And one of the reasons why I do so many different parts of the book myself, to be honest, I have control issues. But the other issue is that I really want to tell the whole story. So it's a little bit of both. And Tom's completely right. If you are a writer and that's where your skills are and that's what you're good at, you shouldn't be drawing the book. And if you are not that guy, don't do it. You're going to make a worse book as a result of it. But, there are other people where they're trying to do their artistic vision in a certain way that they don't feel as fulfilled having other people touch it like that. So it's an each or thing. But I totally get what Tom is talking about. If you work with some people with really good skills and you have access to them, there's no reason not to take advantage of that. That kind of goes back to that original thing that we were saying about networking marketing. Those skills are invaluable, even if they're not creative in the conversation. That ability to have that allows you to focus and compartmentalize and do other things and manage the whole project.
All right, cool. It's funny, as far as this is more like a creative skill set that I'd like to develop, right? Because I went to film school. One of the things I like to go back to doing is obviously shooting, but editing, right? So editing film is its own thing, and it's a very serious thing, and it's a very time-consuming thing. It's a very dedicated thing, because when you really get into the programs, right, you can affect lighting can affect the mood of the shot. There's the timing of the scenes. At what point do you cut? What point do you fade in, fade out? What type of transitions you use, like a fade in, fade out, a swipe, so on and so forth. And that's something that I haven't done in a long time that I'd like to get back into, right? Because I've seen things, and it's just like it just interests me as a storyteller, right? The way you can construct a story in film, and how these different things affect the way you can tell a story, right?
JD, have you ever thought about applying that to the comic and making like a motion comic out of something you've already got?
No, because like Tom said, I'm really busy, and I don't, and I would leave that to an artist. as opposed to doing a film. That would be something I would shoot, because I've done it before. I've shot short films and I've edited them together. But the crazy thing about it is, like, I've shot a 10-minute film for school, and I remember it took me 2 weeks to cut it together. And I wasn't working. Like, that's all I did. I got up, I came to my computer, and I just started cutting. And you would start at, like, let's say I started at noon, and I just start cutting, and it's 8 o'clock. It's 8 p.m. And then you're like, oh, let me go eat something. You come back, and then you work till like 2 a.m. again. And then there's this, and it's that over and over and over again. It's just really, really, really labor intensive when it comes down to that, especially when you're cutting audio in, right? And you're putting in Foley effects, and you're doing all that stuff, and trying to figure out the program on how to do special effects, right? So all that stuff factors in, and I would love to really get back into that, right? Because after I did that, before I did that, I was kind of gun shy trying to tackle certain programs. Like Photoshop scared me. Certain other types of programs just scared me. After I started doing that, no program scares me. I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. Just let me see it. I'll figure it out. Because after editing, when you're doing film, audio, music, and all this stuff piled on top of one another, you're like, oh, anything else, there's very little that's daunting, So, yeah. So that's something that I would like to take on creatively, but it's this part creative, but there's a lot of craft and there's a lot of skill involved in that. You know, and
that's why most YouTubers have their own editorial teams, even if they're very competent at editorial themselves.
Yeah.
The amount of time it takes to keep the pipeline going.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So, Marcus, answer your own question.
Well, I wasn't really even thinking about answering a question.
It's your question. You got to answer.
Like this, it's kind of a hard one for me because, like, I mean, like not to glaze myself or anything, but like I'm kind of a polymath when it comes to like the comic book stuff. So I'm a professional level line artist, professional level inker, I'm a professional level, letterer, cover artist, and I do all the graphic design and everything like that. I can't even say marketing because I'm starting to get like somewhat decent, like all that stuff too. But I run into, it's like I'm up against, kind of what Tom was talking about. Is like I've worn a lot of hats. I've worn all the hats that there is to wear, and that fucking sucks actually. It's not a great thing. So like actually, I think being overskilled in this business is actually a more difficult thing than lacking some things. Sometimes to get turned to other stuff, it gets hard to me actually. Like, okay, should I go to a letterer? Who should I get? Like, I'll like, oh, don't worry about it. I'll letter it. I'll knock it out. And then like I'm fucking crying in my room, because I got a graphic novel. I need to letter it. I'm trying to crunch it in and make time for it because one little hiccup in the schedule is all it takes. Doing the colors on something, that's a whole thing. And then now I'm like, okay, I was supposed to have the colors done a month ago and I haven't started them yet. Now I got to go and, well, I'm behind. I got to find somebody to come help me and do everything like that. So it's been a continual 5 years of biting off more than I can really chew. And if there's any creative skill that I need to learn, it's the skill of letting go and trusting others and, extending my things that way. And that's what I'm starting to do a bit more. I'm finding people that are, okay, I know they can put a book together. I picked up their stuff. I bought their stuff. I always support their Kickstarters. So I know if I turn a book over to them, like, hey, I need this formatted, need the copy on it. I got all that stuff ready to go. Here's all the logos and, information, everything you need. Put it together for me. I'll check it, make sure the spelling and everything correct, but I know what's going to come back is going to be really solid. One project we did like that, my buddy Charlie McElvey, he actually did everything and took it there for me, and that was cool because I was having stuff. Sometimes I lettered and colored that book. I didn't color all of it, but I covered like a major chapter in it. And I was like super burnt out. Like I was dealing with really, really tough life things at the time. So being able to just be like, oh, I don't have to do this. Someone else is going to finish the book, like take it the last mile for me was like, it's like the gates of heaven like opened up. I was like, what is this feeling I'm experiencing right now? I think for me, it's more about like maximizing the things I do. And the more that I do comics, the more that I work with people. I think this is what a lot of creators in the industry probably go to. Yeah, they might be a good artist, but they may not be a level of artist where they're going to become like an all-time great or something like that. So they sort of find the lane where they have the most proficiency in, or they can dump the most skill points into. And I've kind of discovered my proficiency is like when it comes to editorial. And a lot of people don't see editorial as like a creative skill in the way they should, but it is. And there's all sorts of levels to it. Some people are editors just to spell check your work and then pass it off. Some people are editors in a way that can really develop things, and my skill is that I can work with a person who has never done a comic book before, or like they have loose as the concepts, and I could get them to create something out of nothing that is like something that's really like resonant and personal and like they identify with, and something that is viable too when you would go do it. Like I think we've had like 24 Kickstarters get funded. Like I'm even able to help them build their own audiences. So when they do stuff outside of Odyssey and whatever that we do, they're carrying that with them, or they're building things on their own. So that is something that I think if I want to improve or gain more, is to do more of that, because I think ultimately that is where I get the most fulfillment personally, and I'm of best service to comics as an industry, too. where more of my place lies, rather than just banging out books. It's like, how can I be like supportive and sort of like, a community builder and things like that, and try to get people like to just make the best work they could possibly do, and then do it in a way that's like actual fun and not just like being a hard ass or telling people their stuff sucks or like anything like that. Just like really getting in touch with at the core what we all are like doing this for, and try to do more of that stuff. And that's hard to do because it does take time, and I was even burning myself out on that. Like I would go to LA, I would go to have coffee or go to meetings with like, 4 different people in an afternoon and not come back fucking exhausted and, need a week to recover from all that, and then continually like following up with them. So, even that comes with a little grain of salt on its end. But I think I'm doing the things necessarily to try to get to that point, like this late this year and then on next year too.
All right, cool. All right. So yeah, I got a question for you guys. Name me a cover and a piece of interior art that you would like to own. If you could own it, you would own it. And please, nothing that's your own, nothing that you own, nothing that someone you've worked with. So a piece of a cover and a piece of interior artwork that you'd like to own from whomever. That's not you. The
same book or
what?
The same book or could be 2 different books.
2 different books. 2 different books.
Okay.
Different creator, different creative teams. Yeah, anybody. I think. Well, let's go, Ray.
I need a minute if that's okay. Can you skip me and put me in number 2 in line here?
Damn, Ray. You're Canadian.
I'm high maintenance. What can I tell you?
I can tell. Dan, what are your thoughts?
The first thing that pops into mind is quite obviously the cover for Action Comics #1. I mean, were that around anywhere? If I had the billions needed to purchase said cover, that would be it. And I guess the interior page where it had like the origin. So, they kind of condensed that. So just from a historical perspective and again, a flat out first idea that comes to mind. I mean, almost anything having to do with, here's a little thing just sitting here next to me. Almost anything having to do with that cover, I'm grabbing. Here's another cover I backed for that I really liked. Yeah, look at it there. All right. But at any rate, if we go then just purely art, not just like historical significance or anything like that, I'd probably have to think it'd probably end up being an Art Adams cover. And it's hard to narrow that down. Probably one of his interiors. Maybe that interior from that X-Men annual. George Perez drew it. Colossus is on a dragon. Ends up that John Byrne was the one who inked it, because he is not credited, but they at a convention, I think Terry Austin handed it, said, which one of these do you want to ink? And Byrne was like, I'd like to ink that one. Mm-hmm. So that just pops to mind as an interior page. So that's just all off the cuff.
All right, cool. James, what are you thinking?
Mine is pretty quick and pretty simple. I would take any interior page Sam Keith ever touched. Any one of them. For the interior works. I have a couple of the artisanal books that they reprinted before he died, and the work in there is amazing. You can see how talented of a multimedia artist he was, and how much he had to flex his mind and as well as like skills in every single issue. Absolutely. And then the other one is I think it's Incredible Hulk 3D2. It's not, it's a McFarlane cover. it's the first comic book I ever owned, and I absolutely would want that cover because it just is the beginning of my journey and means a lot to me. I mean, I've got it posted in my office so that I see it every single day, and I remind myself what it was like being like 8 years old and getting a hold of that and becoming as inspired as I am to make comics. So it's a pretty easy answer. As soon as you said it, I already knew exactly what I would want is either of those.
All right, cool. Randy, what do you think?
Man, it's just spin the wheel on a ton of stuff. It'd be, what do you choose? What do you decide? Any of the interior pages, any Eisner Spirit page that he did, I would love to own. Absolutely love to own. Cover wise, man, it's hard to choose one. One of my favorites is Bamba #1. Never seen that book before. I should probably take it out of the plastic so that it doesn't reflect out. I love this cover. Just such a great dynamic cover to it.
Cool. Yeah,
Who's
the artist?
I thought for the longest time, I thought it was Nick Cardy, and it wasn't. And I couldn't tell you who it is right off the bat. But for the longest time, I thought it was Nick Cardy because it's so dynamic.
That is.
But it's really a sweet cover.
It almost has like a Rosetta mid-fight composition to it.
Yeah, just
design.
Just the whole dynamic on it's just great. I love it. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if it was like something that got pulled from some old Hal Foster. So that's a interesting image.
Yeah, love it. I knew who it was at one point, but I couldn't tell you now. But there's so many other great iconic covers out there. It's just ridiculous. But original artwork, any Alex Toth character sheet, I'd love to own.
Yeah,
that'd be nice. Anything by Toth, really. It's great stuff.
Can't go wrong with it.
This is true. Ray, you now it is definitely your time.
Captain Canuck #1 cover, obviously.
No, man, we've talked about this.
I
Alpha
got that
Flight
in my head.
Indicator all the way. Forget Captain Canuck. I would go if I had to pick one, as a couple people already said. There's quite a few good ones out there. I do a Teixeira cover of Ghost Rider Volume 2, Issue 15. It was a glow in the dark cover. I really like that one a lot. Interiors, there is a story arc that I really like that many people do not, and that's Sin's Past, where it's revealed that Gwen and Norman Osborn had twins. And a lot of people roll their eyes at it, but there's one dynamic part of the story where it's revealed that Peter Parker, his blood, is able to stabilize one of the kids. And as the transfusion is happening, Mary Jane is watching through the window in the hospital, and she says, "Go get him, Tiger." And then she says, "Go kiss his ass," or kick his ass, not kick his ass. But she's tearing up, and then it shows a metaphorical imagery of Spider-Man and Goblin about to square off over top of the person's biological composition. And I thought that was very powerful for that part of the story. I just really like that one. It's a real reflection on how obligated Peter feels towards the people around him. That dynamic over power and responsibility. I just really like that interior by Mike Deodato.
All right, cool.
Good point about Teixeira. His covers were definitely underrated for the most part, and I love that one where Ghost Rider's by himself with that spear shoved down his throat, and he's just him on a white background. Teixeira's great.
I was just at a con with him, and I couldn't dare even go over to his booth because it was a bankrupted me.
Dude, I'm a massive Ghost Rider fan. I would be all over him.
So, Marcus, what would you like?
This is one where I'm gonna be hyper specific in one, and not so much in the other. God, I would take just about anything from David Mazzucchelli Daredevil 233, where he fights Nuke and encounters the Avengers. I think that is one of the most beautifully illustrated and like most. His work is great across the board, but something about that book, especially the way the story is structured, like how many different avenues he has to cross and the things that book covers, because you're playing in like the greater Marvel universe, and you know there's these really big action moments, and then there's these really quiet like personal moments too. Like as far as a single issue comic goes, it runs the gamut, and I would take any page out of there I could get my hands on. And then for covers are tougher for me because I'm not like a huge cover guy. There's just like certain artists where I just like their style for like a certain character, and like I think like two of my big ones I have work from them already, so I have trouble thinking about another one that I would get. But probably anything from Mike Wieringo or Bruce Timm. I think they're like probably two of the most influential, if not the two most influential artists to me personally, that I don't have any of their work or original work from. Obviously, Mike Wieringo is no longer with us, so you know all of his stuff is hyper valued. It's difficult to get original pages from unless you got the bank account to do it, which I do not. And then Bruce Timm is he's ever elusive too, and he's he's alive and kicking, but also hard to get any original artwork of anything that he's done. So yeah, if I hit the lottery or had that level of disposable income, those would probably be the two guys. I make sure I had something from them in my collection.
All right, cool. Tom.
So that Ghost Rider cover you were talking about, James, I'm pretty sure that was Joe Quesada that did that one. Stark white background, and he's kind of all jacked up with the spear going through. That was Joe Quesada. Yeah.
Damn it! I own that one. I didn't
Tex
even
does great. Tex does great stuff, but that one I'm pretty sure was Joe. For me, there's tons of things that I'd love. I can't get greedy anymore because I have my Grail. That's the first comic book I ever bought was Godzilla number 16 and by Herb Trimpe. And I have it. It's here. So I can't be greedy anymore. But there's some cool stuff that I'd love. I mean, I came up with Wonder Woman, so there's tons of Wonder Woman covers from like the 70s that would be amazing, obviously, to have. And then George Perez's run, like so many of those covers are like, oh my God, what is this guy doing? But one that stands out that George did was issue 31, and it was Wonder Woman and the Cheetah. But it was like this. The whole cover was black and red, and a little bit of white for like some lighting. But it was very sort of graphic design. It was a huge red sun, black clouds. The characters were like black and red, and they're like kind of like posed to like fight each other on on these opposite sides of the corners of the covers. I've always loved that one, so that would be fantastic. I also loved, I think it was issue 3 of his series, where it's a shot of Wonder Woman fighting like she's like fighting like a snake goddess or something, and it's just like he literally drew like hundreds of snakes just like flying at her. It's just like this wild perspective, and it's all just perfect. And I'm like, oh my God, that cover's always blown me away. Like just the ability to I can't even imagine him being like, can I get 100 snakes in here? Like this would I have to have 100 snakes.
If a writer wrote that for me to draw 400 snakes.
Yeah, crazy. And then the interior page, there's plenty of grails, but there is one grail that I want. And Dark Horse was doing Godzilla comics for a while. And there was a mini series within that series where they were sending him through time, various places in time. And one of the stories is he shows up and ends up sinking the Titanic. And there's a splash page that Brandon McKinney did where Godzilla's coming up out of the water and cracking the Titanic over his back. And I was like, oh my God. And I met him at a con one time and I was like, so do you have it? He's like, no, don't even ask. That's gone. And I was like, you have anything from that issue? And he says, I got a few pages. So I did find one page where Godzilla is on it with the Titanic and he's just off in the background and there's a whole bunch of like people in the water or whatever. So I did get the next page, but that one has always stuck with me, and I will find it someday.
Brendan McKinney is local. He shows up down here at the comic shop like quite often.
Local where?
I'm out in Sacramento.
Sacramento? Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. I've met him a few times. He did a bunch of ElfQuest stuff. That's where I got to know him, and then he went over to Godzilla, and yeah.
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
Yeah.
All right, cool. For myself, it's an EC comic by Wally Wood, Weird Science number 16, and it's you have a UFO over a field, and you have an alien coming out, and you have like these 3 little kids, just like terrified about what's going on, and it's a beautiful cover. So it's just like one of those things. It was just always a very striking cover to me. So it's something I always enjoyed looking at. I was just like, yeah, I like that one. Another for an interior page, and man, like everybody says, there's a lot, right? Like, and I'm like, I had to choose between Walter Simonson and oh damn, now I'm blanking on his name. He did Thor 300. Keith Pollard, and I like there's probably half a dozen pages from that book I'd want to have, but probably the very first page where you see Erisham and he's holding up an image of Thor just brooding, right? And I think that would be the page I'd want to have, and that is a beautiful, beautiful page. And I mean, because as much as I love Walter and his Thor, Keith Pollard has always been my quintessential that's Thor illustrator for me. That's always been like, that's Thor. Anything that's come after that is like, yeah, that's Thor, but Keith Pollard did Thor. Yeah. So
man, while we're talking about this, just from my personal experience, I feel like this is the hack that I found. If you ever have anyone you really like, you want artwork from them or something original, scope all of the planning at like Comic Cons that you would like to go to or visit and see who has the earliest panels. You go to them. You never know you're gonna get. I fucking stumbled my way into like a Mark Bagley Spider-Man commission that I got for fucking free. It's personalized. It was like one of my prized possessions. He's like my absolute favorite like Spider-Man artist. And then during a really slow con, Kevin McGuire, who did Justice League International and everything, he was having a really slow time. I was going to buy a print from him. He was only taking cash at the time, but we ended up just like shooting the shit for an hour straight. I later went and got the cash to come back. Turns out he did me a pro bono commission of Batman punching Guy Gardner in the face, and I got that. Nice. So yeah, if there's a slow con and it looks like people are bored, that's the opportunity to.
That's the time to strike.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, gentlemen, we made it to hour 2. Thank you so much for being here. All you guys are great. Let's start with Mr. DM Ray down there. Where can we find you and your work, sir?
You can find me on Instagram as Raymond the DM. You can also find me on Facebook as DM Ray. Follow my profiles. I have some cool announcements coming up in the not too distant future.
All right, cool. Randy?
If you got to talk to me, you can find me primarily on Facebook, a little bit of X there under Randy Zimmerman. But I podcast twice a week and show off some great sequential artwork. Sunday mornings at 9 a.m., we do the Sunday Funnies. And then Friday mornings at 5 a.m., we do Comics by Night. And both programs, we pull out great old, well, not necessarily old, but great sequential art from all different time periods from all over the world and sit there and analyze them and talk about the subject matter and let the conversation wander all over the place. So go over there and if you can, we're archived over at the Comic Book Black Belt YouTube channel, the Randy Zim YouTube channel, and the Indie Comics Network YouTube channel. So go over there and take a look at our archive. We've been doing it for a few years now. Really, really proud of those podcasts. So hope you go over there and enjoy them. Other than that, it's the Atlantean, Arrow Comics, mycomic.com.
Cool. James?
I can be found over on Instagram at James Burton II. I can be found at angerbrainartworks.com. And right now, the Ballad of Nod is running on Kickstarter.
All right, cool. Dan.
Yeah, I have Dan Sehn on Facebook. I have Argo Comics Facebook page, Argo Comics on YouTube, on X, on Instagram, on Kickstarter. I have it as Argo Comics as well. But again, if you search GWP right now, you'll get to my Kickstarter page, and hitting the profile will get you to the past and upcoming launches.
All right, cool. Marcus, where can we find you and your work?
Find us at odysseycomics.com, and we've been most active lately on Instagram at Odyssey Comics Official. Make sure you stay checked in with us. We got some announcements coming this week on our next books, our plans for San Diego Comic-Con, and a lot of stuff too that's going to be really cool for local creators down here in Southern California. So be on the lookout.
Cool. Tom.
BigDogInk.com. Get your books. I'll be in San Diego in a couple of weeks. I'll be at the Antarctic Press booth with all kinds of critter goodies. And then we'll be back in August for the next part of the Legend of Oz 15-year anniversary celebration.
Very nice. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, all those different places. YouTube this Tuesday, back with Rob Multari, and next Sunday night. And just remember, everybody, please check out the show notes, because in the show notes are the links to all of these creators' campaigns and all of their websites. So go click on those links, buy those books. These creators are all impassioned. They all do great work. So please pick up some of their work. They definitely deserve your support. They're all doing fantastic work. So thank you so much, everybody. And just remember, read more indie comics, especially ours. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Take care. See ya.
Yeah.